Hear, O Yashar'Al, the great I am, the great spirit is the only power for you. The great I am, the great spirit is one. Speak peace into the ears of the people so that they could see on this day of rest. Welcome to World War III. Our reference today will be Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 25. And this message is entitled Education as War. Now, the Carlisle Indian Industrial School, which is Carlisle Barracks in Pennsylvania, their brigadier, a person by the name of Brigadier General Richard Henry Pratt, was first to coin the word racism in 1902. Now, for those of you Hebrew Israelites out there calling God a racist, you would have to refer to this guy's word who coined it in 1902. So the word racism is not found in the Bible. So you're referring back to this man here, this general of the United States Army, Brigadier General Richard Henry Pratt. In his Kill the Indian and Save the Man speech delivered in 1892, quote, Indian schools are just as well calculated to keep the Indian intact as Indians, as Catholic schools are to keep the Catholics intact. Under our principles, we have established the public school system. Once again, under our principles, we have established the public school system. Once again, under our principles, we have established the public school system, where people of all races may become unified under every way and loyal to the government. But we do not gather the people of one nation into schools by themselves, and the people of another nation into schools by themselves. But we invite the youth of all peoples into all schools. We shall not succeed in Americanizing the Indian unless we take him in exactly the same way, unquote. And we know this didn't happen because we've had Jim Crow and black codes throughout from 1892, even before that, from 1865, all the way to 1965. So we know that didn't happen. But again, this is how the public school system was established, by act of war. And when that Indian school was established, many of them started doing the same way by indoctrinating people to change their mind. Again, that's what Americanization is, to change your perspective from one ideology to another. Let's stay in Pennsylvania. We're going to stay in Pennsylvania. The University of Pennsylvania Press, in its Jewish Quarterly Review in 1903, The Lost Tribes, this is the title, The Lost Tribes and the Influence of the Search for Them on the Return of the Jews to England. The subject, the Jews return to England. Now, page 644 of this Jewish Quarterly Review, quote, during all this time, numbers of Jews on the continent, and especially those belonging to the empire, thinking that these Tartars and these Cumnarians were a portion of their race, whom God had, at the prayer of Alexander the Great, shut up the Caspian Mountains. Now, these Jews were shut up in the Caspian Mountain. I'm going to finish the quote. Calling upon Adonai of the Greeks. This Adonai is a Greek god, such as Adonis. Tartars are known to be the descendants of Genghis Khan, Ashkenazi Zionism. Now, again, Adonai is found in the book of Revelation as Adonai, Apollo. Again, you got Adonis, Apollo, Adonai. These are Greco-Roman gods. And you have these guys here in the Caspian Mountains calling upon Adonai, the Adonis of Greeks, calling themselves Hebrews. Now, this was in 1903. Now, and again, the University of Pennsylvania Press, getting tongue twisted here. Again, the University of Pennsylvania Press, the Jewish Quarterly Review, knew this in 1903, but they still called themselves Jews. Now, let's go to the reference. Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 25. In the Complete Jewish Bible, the CJB, the word Adonai is found there. Again, Ezekiel 25, verse 25, in the Complete Jewish Bible, verse 25, the word of Adonai came to me. That's the beginning quote. Now, this is supposed to be a Hebrew Bible. Why is this Greek word there? In the King James, it reads, Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 25, the word of the Lord came unto me. Adonai is taken out. Again, and the word of the Lord is an old German word for, land protector, or like the wheat protector or land protector. That's what this English derived German word for Lord means, having nothing to do with Hebrew. If you go into the Hebrew, you will see exactly what God calls himself. For one, Ahia or Ishai, and two, it's not Adonai of these Jewish people whose book in Jewish they're calling on a Greek god. And again, the Jewish Publication Society, again, we're still in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We're still in Pennsylvania, folks. The Jewish Publication Society of Philadelphia proclaimed the addition and subtraction to the ancient Hebrew language, like the Nakud and the dash marks and those diphthongs and those additions to Paleolithic Hebrew. They have changed it into the more block Hebrew of the Babylonian style. I like to call it the snake language because, again, it's not the tongue of the original Hebrews. It's a double-edged tongue which adds additions to the original. So what they're doing is that they're adding and subtracting to the holy word, which is a violation. It's a violation in Deuteronomy, a violation in Leviticus, and a violation in the revelation of Scripture, the final book. So again, and what do these Ashkenazis teach? What do they believe in? Do they believe in the Bible, or do they believe in something else? In the Erubin, which is the Babylonian Talmud, in the Erubin 21b of the Talmud, it testifies that the Talmud itself is supreme over the words of the Bible. This means the religion of Judaism does not have to obey the words of the Bible, which you, Sepharis Christus, or aka Greek Jesus Christ worshippers, you Sepharis Christus worshippers, worshiping the Sepharis Christus of the Greeks, thinking that you're worshiping the Jesus Christ, or the Messiah of the Hebrews. You're worshiping the Sepharis Christus of the Greeks. You are obeying what these Jewish peoples changed to fit their ideology. Again, the Bible was translated by the Jewish people who claim to be Jews, and they have specifically said that they have changed the Bible from its original tongue and language such as translation and transliteration, to fit their agenda. Now, I got a text message from Brother Yashar'Al, and he's a brother I met here in Maryland. He got a text message from him, and he sent me this video on a guy in Israel by the name of Gideon Levy. And you could Google this. Gideon Levy took a DNA test, and he is a full-blooded Ashkenazi. And he has both his mother and father, their bloodline is straight Ashkenazi. There's no additions, there's no tainted blood. And they have no history. Their Ashkenazi blood has no history in the land of Israel. You can Google that. The last thing that I wanted to discuss on this segment on education being a war is the Roman Statute of July 1, 1998, which created the International Criminal Court. And the International Criminal Court has convicted the United States. Look it up. Now, the International Criminal Court, under this Roman statute, again, when they say Roman statute or Roman law, the Romans were religious people. The ancient Romans were religious people. So if you're obeying Roman law, then you have to obey their gods. That's why the United States cannot say that there is no God. Everybody has pressured them. Hey, separation of church and state, this, that, what, or what not. They cannot say that there is no God if they're basing their law upon the Romans, which the Romans believed in their 12 deities, just like the ancient Egyptians believed in their 8 Ogdagod, if that's what it's called, pronounced. Well, again, the Romans had their 12 Olympiads, or their 12 primordial beings. And this International Criminal Court, the Clinton administration, signed the treaty in 2000, but they didn't ratify it. The W. Bush administration withdrew the United States signature on May 6, 2002. Do you want to know why it was withdrawn? Because it's a treaty. And not only is it a treaty, that treaty would have put the United States underneath another justice system, another jurisdiction underneath it. And that treaty would have told the United States to pay you Negroes for the damages that have occurred. Really. Just like all the countries that you're not seeing on television telling the United States to stop killing you, you're not going to see this. But on an international front, they're doing this. They're saying, hey, sign this treaty. They have not signed this Roman statute, which is an international criminal court system based upon European principles, might I add. And again, the Romans were religious people. So if you're basing your government on Greco-Roman law, and you still, denying the Europeans, denying those Europeans, saying, hey, we were Europeans once, but now we're Americans. Then you're denying even the gods of your European forefathers. Based upon this treaty or this signature withdrawal. And they got you black people telling you that you have to be engrafted into a society and culture that's going to Americanize you to love what they're doing to you. If you are identified as a Native American, aka Indian, a Latino, aka, Mexican, or whatever Latino, you are in the United States, or a Negro, Black, or African American, if you are identified by these terms, then your education here in America has damaged you through act of war. And you hearing it here from the mouth of a conscientious objector, from the mouth of a man of peace, an administrator of peace. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Hebrew Israelite out.